For 75 years, the United Nations has been the world's final word on global conflict. But that era might have just ended with a single executive order and a $1 billion price tag. International diplomacy has long been a game of slow-moving committees and endless resolutions. For decades, the global community has relied on the same established institutions to mediate wars and broker peace deals. Most people view these organizations as the bedrock of global stability, even if they often struggle to produce immediate results. But we are currently witnessing a fundamental shift in how power is exercised on the world stage. To understand where we are going, we have to look at the frustration that has been building for years. Many world leaders have grown tired of the gridlock in New York and Geneva. They see a system that is heavy on bureaucracy, but light on enforcement. This tension has created a vacuum, and that vacuum is now being filled by a radical new approach to international relations. It is an approach that treats peace not as a human right, but as a high-stakes business transaction. The announcement of the Board of Peace has sent shockwaves through every foreign ministry on the planet. This is not just another advisory committee or a temporary task force. It is a streamlined, highly powerful entity designed to bypass traditional diplomatic channels entirely. Its primary focus is the ongoing crisis in Gaza, but its reach is intended to be global. The structure of this board is what makes it so unique. Instead of career diplomats or academic experts, the roster is filled with individuals known for their background in high-level finance, real estate, and private sector negotiations. The logic is simple. The traditional methods have failed to end the violence, so the new strategy is to treat the conflict like a distressed asset that needs a restructuring plan. But the most controversial aspect of this new initiative isn't who is on the board, but how much it costs to stay in their good graces. There is now a clear financial requirement for nations that want to maintain their standing within this new framework. Reports indicate a figure of $1 billion is being floated as the price of admission for certain countries to ensure their interests are protected and their voices are heard at the table. This pay-to-play model for global security is something the world has never seen before. In the past, foreign aid and military alliances were the currency of diplomacy. Now that currency is literal. By requiring a massive financial commitment, the board creates a tiered system of influence. It suggests that if a nation wants a seat at the table where the biggest decisions are made, they have to be willing to buy into the process. This brings us to why this move is causing such a panic in the halls of the United Nations. For the first time in modern history, the UN has a direct competitor. The Board of Peace is being positioned as a faster, more decisive alternative to the Security Council. While the UN operates on the principle of sovereign equality, the board operates on the principle of leverage. This shift represents a direct challenge to the post-World War II order. If the board successfully brokers a lasting deal in Gaza where the UN has failed, it will prove that the old system is obsolete. It would signal to the rest of the world that the era of multilateral consensus is over, replaced by a new era of transactional power. There is a deeper layer to this strategy that many people are overlooking. By moving peace talks out of the public eye and into a private boardroom, the accountability structure changes. In a traditional setting, every vote and every speech is part of the public record. In this new format, the negotiations happen behind closed doors with the speed and secrecy of a corporate merger. This lack of transparency is exactly what some participants find attractive. It allows for the kind of grand bargains that are impossible to achieve when every minor detail is scrutinized by the global press. However, it also means that the outcomes are determined by those with the deepest pockets and the most to offer in terms of raw economic power. You have to wonder what happens to the countries that cannot afford the billion-dollar price tag. If the world's most powerful mediator only listens to those who pay, the gap between the wealthy nations and the developing world will grow even wider. Security would no longer be a collective effort, but a premium service available only to a select few.
The implications for the Middle East are immediate. The board is looking to leverage massive private investment and infrastructure projects as a way to force a resolution. The idea is to make peace so profitable that neither side can afford to keep fighting. It is an ambitious, perhaps even cynical attempt to solve an ancient religious and territorial dispute through the lens of modern capitalism. But there is a significant risk involved in this approach. When you turn diplomacy into a business deal, you run the risk of ignoring the human and historical factors that often drive conflict. You can buy a piece of land or a trade route, but you cannot easily buy a change of heart or the forgiveness of a generation. As we look toward the coming months, the success or failure of this board will likely redefine the role of the United States on the global stage. If it works, it creates a new blueprint for how conflicts are handled everywhere from Eastern Europe to the South China Sea. Every major power will have to decide if they are willing to pay the entry fee to join this new world order. The world is watching to see how the traditional institutions respond. Will the United Nations adapt and find a way to remain relevant, or will it slowly fade into the background as a relic of a different century? The emergence of the Board of Peace suggests that the world is no longer interested in waiting for a consensus that never comes. We are entering a period where the rules of the game are being rewritten in real time. The concept of peace through strength is being replaced by peace through investment. It is a bold experiment that treats the world's most dangerous problems as solvable equations, provided you have enough capital to balance the books. The ultimate question is whether a peace that is bought can truly last. Historically, the most stable treaties are those built on mutual respect and shared values. A peace built on a billion-dollar subscription model is something entirely different. It is fragile, dependent on the continued flow of money and the whims of a few powerful individuals. As this new board begins its work, the era of the career diplomat is being eclipsed by the era of the dealmaker. Whether this leads to a more stable world or a more fractured one remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. The way the world settles its scores has changed forever, and the price of sitting at the table has never been higher. In the end, we may find that the most expensive thing in the world isn't war, but the specific kind of peace that is now being offered. The board is set, the players are in place, and the stakes are measured in billions. The world is about to find out exactly what its stability is worth.